here in Dealey Plaza. You know, many people stood here in Dealey Plaza 50 years ago. They were just hoping to see the president, maybe get a wave, a smile, something like that. Instead, they witnessed the horror of a presidential assassination. NBC5's Jeff Smith now has the story of one of the closest witnesses to the tragedy. Jeff?
Mary Moorman's 11-year-old son wanted to see the president, but he had school on November 22nd, 1963, so Moorman made him a promise.
I just told him, I'll take a picture, but never dreaming it was, I stepped out into history.
Moorman and a friend drove downtown and picked out a quiet spot in Dealey Plaza.
We were just carefree young ladies raising a family, and we just decided to come downtown to see the president and to see Jackie.
Moorman brought along a Polaroid camera just like this one and started snapping photos as the motorcade approached.
I had the car in the view finder, and then I just snapped the picture.
She was standing about 25 feet away, the closest witness to one of the darkest days in American history.
What prompted you to take the picture at that particular instant, ma'am?
Well, that's the only chance I had. Mine is a Polaroid, and I can only take one every 10 seconds.
Moorman heard 3 sharp popping noises that she thought were firecrackers. Then she heard the First Lady.
I heard Jackie say, "Oh my God, he's been shot."
Did you get a look?
NBC News caught up with Mary Moorman outside the sheriff's office just 30 minutes later.
Did you know he was shot?
No, I didn't. I must have snapped it immediately when he slumped, because in the picture that's the way she's there and he slumped over.
Moorman didn't know it at the time, but one of her photographs was taken less than 1 second after that fatal headshot.
I saw his hair jump, and I thought, oh, his hair jumped. Well, that wasn't just his hair. That was part of his head flying. I know that blood splattered.
Conspiracy theorists have spent decades analyzing her picture, claiming it shows a second shooter on the grassy knoll.
It was chaotic. People everywhere running in that direction of the grassy knoll.
Moorman says she doesn't know where the gunshots came from because she was traumatized by what happened just a few feet in front of her camera lens.
I had seen a man killed in front of my eyes, or shot in front of my eyes, which that's never happened before, and it certainly hadn't happened since either.
Standing in Dealey Plaza 50 years later, Moorman says those horrific memories come rushing back.
I'll just never forget that as long as I live. That his hair jumped, but it was not his hair, it was his head.
Her horror and the nation's sorrow, captured forever in one infamous Polaroid. Mary Moorman was standing right down there, really just an easy football toss away from the president. In fact, before the motorcade came down Elm Street, she was actually standing in the street taking photographs, then jumped back out of the way onto the grass when the motorcade approached. It just goes to show you what a different world it was 50 years ago in terms of security and presidential safety. Brian?
Oh, Jeff, I also had the privilege of interviewing Mary Moorman a couple of years ago, and I remember standing at that spot with her, and I could just see it in her eyes. Did you have that same experience when you were chatting with her?
Yeah, and I actually asked her about that, Brian, if it's something, a memory that has started to fade over the decades, or if it's still something that's very vivid for her. And she told me it's something that she can never forget, that other memories, other people and things she's experienced, those memories fade, but there is a section of her mind that is forever linked to this assassination, and she will never forget every detail of what it was like to stand there just literally a few feet away and watch the president as those fatal shots hit him in the head. That photograph she took was auctioned off just a few weeks ago. I asked her if she wanted to see that photograph or talk to the person who purchased the photograph. She said no, it was something she wanted out of her hair. She did not want to deal with that photograph, but the memory is something she would never escape. Brian?
Yeah, I remember her gingerly showing me that photograph, an extraordinary moment for me personally. Jeff, I have to ask you, what's going on there behind you?